Video editing of itself is a lifetime pursuit. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I still don't know everything. Guys, start thinking like an editor. If you're editing your own videos, start thinking like an editor. If you're going to be your own editor, think like an editor. Project and know, I need to tell myself later I messed up here. I need to tell myself later what take this is. Count myself down. Whatever you need to do, you'll just feel it. It's organic. You'll feel it when you're in the timeline. You have to edit to learn to edit. You're not going to become an editor of any regard without doing what? Editing. If you wait for perfection, you'll never achieve anything. You'll never go anywhere. You'll never do anything. It is impossible to obtain. So just go. In this video, we're going to talk about the editing process. We're going to be using Davinci Resolve. I've been an avid editor for over 30 years, but this past year, I made the switch. The tool set in Davinci Resolve is so robust, meets my needs, and also meets the modern requirements of how the workflow is today. What do I mean by workflow? I mean that you gather all your assets, your video, your audio, and all your elements and your graphics and different sources, and you bring those all to the editing system. I needed a switchblade, like a Swiss Army knife capable system, something that's able to take in multiple frame rates, multiple frame sizes, repurpose them, and then export them out and encode them into what I need for streaming. Well, with Avid, my Avid is about 10 years old. To upgrade it costs a lot of money. Here's the great thing. Davinci Resolve, the base version, is free. Blackmagic Design is the company that makes Davinci Resolve. So look for Blackmagic Design. Find your way to the Davinci Resolve. Again, we're at like version 20 or something like that at this point. And then click on either Mac or Windows. Download your copy, install it on your machine. For a free editing software, it is insanely robust. And we're going to talk about a lot of that today. We're going to look at the basics. We're going to go over the basics of editing. And if you've never edited before, well, welcome aboard. And I hope that you can pick up some tips, some ideas, and get a kind of an overview. And really, video editing is a lifelong pursuit. Like I said, I've been doing this since college, even before college. My earliest days, of course, was editing tape to tape. And then eventually I moved into the digital realm and working in a non-linear environment. What does that mean? Well, in linear-based editing, if you will, sounds just like you said, where you're laying down audio and video in a straight line on a videotape. Videotape can only do one thing. It's a linear. However, with non-linear editing, what we've had now forever is the fact that you can take clips and move them around the timeline, and you can repurpose them at your heart's will and your heart's content. Do whatever you want. So Davinci Resolve, that's what we're talking about today. Let's get some editing. I'm Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. If you saw my OBS software, and if you haven't yet, go check it out. Talking about recording and switching and live streaming with OBS. If you just saw that video, then you saw me record. I did more than record. I recorded to my tower and my laptop simultaneously, one showing the interface of OBS, the other one showing just what you see here, me within a frame of video, me talking to you on camera. We're going to look at those videos now in this video, and I thought that'd be a really cool way to use them. How the video that we shot in the other one about OBS, we're now going to use in Davinci Resolve to go through some editing. And the first thing that you see with Davinci Resolve is this. Okay, this is your project selection screen. And of course, projects are basically the place, each edit, if you will, each video that you're making, you give it a name and so on. And as you can see here, as I scroll down through, you can see a bunch of the videos that I've made. And man, I've been working with Davinci for a long time. Like I said, avid editor for over 30 years. I only bring that up to say this. Because I used to teach Avid. I'm a certified Avid instructor. And and I've trained people all over North America. I bring all that up only to say that I am self-taught. I went in and I thought, you know what? I'm going to learn Davinci. All right, here, let's switch over to this. I'm going to learn Davinci. I want to see what this program can do. Can it replace a lot of the functionality that Avid has? and I taught myself how to use it. And therefore, I don't know the full breadth and depth of the program, but you know what? There's not a person in the world that can claim they know every nuance of every application. No one knows all of Photoshop. Nobody truly knows the full depth of Avid. And same goes for Davinci Resolve. However, if you can make some darn good videos with it, that's our goal. Our goal is to get to a functional level, and we're starting with that today. So again, switching with OBS, guys, over to the now you can see my project selection screen. Now, what I'm going to do right now, let's just pull up an example real quick. Let's see. You know what? We're going to start a new project, and we're going to call this tutorial. I pressed OK after that. I gave it a name, pressed OK. This is the first screen you will see. And right now, guys, if you look at the very bottom of we're in the cut mode. The next mode over to that in a second here is the edit mode. So basically, it always opens to the last place you were, but it opens to cut. This is the cut mode. How do you tell? Well, over here on the left of your screen, you'll see what's called the media. You see no clips in a media pool. A media pool, like an Avid, if I were to relate it to that, it's like a bin. Okay, but it's more than that. We're going to get to that. Then we have our main viewer window. This is where we can actually see things play in one big window. And then down here, of course, we have our timeline with our different video and audio layers. Now, up here at the top, we have, yes, the media pool. Right now, that is open. That's where we're going to bring all of our audio and video into the system with this window. And then along the top, you can see there's a sync bin. There's a transitions button, titles, effects, keyframes, and then there's some more over here. And then we'll get to these later. I don't want to muddy the waters too much. Let's stick with media pool. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just right click. Okay, see this black space where it says no clips in media pool? I'm right clicking on my mouse, and I'm going to click on import media. Okay, this is how we bring our audio and video into the system, into this project, so we can edit. I clicked on it. Now, right away, I'm going to go to my external hard drive, into here, into OBS. Okay, so right here, I recorded myself, like I said, I recorded myself on the tower and I recorded myself on the laptop, and I'm gonna edit between those. Okay, it's like a multicam edit. So for now, I will bring in all four of these. I did a lasso, or you can do Control A for select all, or you can simply click on them and do a shift click. You know, just select them all and then press OK. Now, right now it's asking me if I want to change the frame rate. This can be tricky depending on what you're bringing in. All I can say is, like we talked about in the OBS, right? We talked about, I said, you just set it to 30 for now and leave it there. So if you're bringing in video that you've captured and recorded with OBS and that's set to 30 frames a second, guess what? So will your clips here. And proof is in the pudding. Let's go back to here. If I come in here and I click, see these clips right here? These two, this one and this one, okay? These two are from my laptop, but this one and this one are from the tower, okay? Meaning that full frame. Now, there's a little I button. Can you see that right there? My mouse is on it. If you click on that, it's going to tell you what that video is, meaning how long it is. If it's HD, 1920 by 1080, yes. And also it's 30 frames a second. So it's telling us that much. It's telling us some more information like the codec and the audio and so on. Now, if I click on this one is 19. Wow, that's not even 1920 by 1080. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to have to do some manipulation on that. We'll talk about that later, how I got those clips captured. And already the system is jumping ahead of me here. So that's how you can do in this view, but there are other ways to view this. Now, like I said, we're in this cut mode at the moment. And this tends to be the quickest, easiest way to get stuff in. But from then, we need to start thinking about, okay, what I do then at this point, if I'm going to make a really complicated video, which most of mine are, I do what all editors do, which is a rough cut. Okay. What you guys don't see normally and what you will see now is I most often count myself down. All right. I tell myself, okay, this is yada, yada, take one. And then I go, kind of get myself ready for the camera. This is all behind the scenes stuff, right? And I go, all right, 3, 2, 1. hey guys, and then I talk to you. Now, for this video, check this out. I don't have an official Hollywood level clapboard. Since I was shooting and I needed to sync up two different sources in this one, I use this. This is a little Rush guitar pick holder. And I go, okay, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And what I have here is both sound and video that I can sync up. There are more elaborate ways to do it, but I always do that as a fallback and as a way that I can just do it manually. Now that I've double clicked on a clip, you can see that says OBS intro record. This clip right here, if I double click on it, OBS main record. So the intro, like in most of my videos, I'm sitting there, I'm recording on OBS, and I will do an intro, right? Just an introduction to the video. And then I normally have different segments. If it's very long, like I just finished a 108-minute video, and that's next up for me to edit. That one has at minimum 15 segments, at least. One of them is 30 minutes long, and so it's that's going to take a long run putting all those pieces together. So what I do is I give them a name. Okay, like I said, this one real simple, straightforward. Meaning the one that we recorded about OBS. I have an intro, and then the main tutorial, meaning the main, and then I did the outro at the end of it. Sometimes I'll have a separate file called outro. Now, back to OBS. Remember, all right, if you haven't, please go watch that video. In OBS, guys, when you press record and then press stop, it's going to put that into the folder, remember in the settings where you told it to be, but also give it a name. Name it, because that counts for everything. You do not want some numeric kind of with a date and some generic name. When you get to your editing software, you're in trouble. Okay, because now you're having to sort through and go, what was that? What is that? You have to double click it to actually see what it is. Now I just, with a glance inside of my editing software, I can see what that is. All right, so now you can see, now the first thing we can see, we're in cut mode. I double clicked on the clip, OBS main record, and then right here, this is why I like cut mode for a lot of my rough cutting. I can see a waveform, okay? Essentially, it's not a waveform, but it is showing me audio levels throughout that clip. Okay, you can see that green, how it goes up and down. That's different parts of me talking. If I just click right there, press my space bar to press play. And here, let me get my headphones on real quick. And do that. So you can use it quickly and accurately and not get mixed in with a bunch of stuff that you... That's me doing the OBS video, guys, right? Okay. Layers. Right now, I have my video, I have my camera, right? It's down here. But the image is up here. So that's where I was explaining the different layers inside of OBS. Okay, so there's an example of just bring the clips in. Remember, we right-clicked, import media. We bring in our audio and video, and then you can double-click on now. Check this out. I love this. See this OBS intro record? This one is clearly different. And see these little spikes right here? This is probably just desk noise. And then right here is where I was doing that. Remember, I was doing that clap thing. Okay, so I can sync up the cameras. Now, if I were going to find, and that's where I'm counting myself down. Headphones on. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right, so you want to make a video. Take 2, and then take 2. Guys, this is total behind the scenes stuff, right? Because a lot of times I will start talking, right? And I'm in OBS, meaning I'm recording. And I know what I want to say. And then I say a few words, and then automatically I just know that's not very good. And literally 3 words in, like, so you want to make a video. I'm like, oh, crap, that's not what. So, and then I go, okay, take 2. And again, me doing that to myself, with myself, recording in front of the camera, alone in a room, the fact that I'm counting down before when my video starts, a lot of times I will say, hold on. All right, syncing up. That's for the sync. Here it is. Try to scan. Okay, so I talk to myself. And a lot of times I'll go, okay, this is Davinci Resolve tutorial. Long before, none of this makes the edit, the final edit, okay? Meaning you guys in general would never see me going, and I tell myself, so I have an audio record. I can see myself on video. I can hear and see right here, where I can see these things right here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so you want to, when you see those little blips right there, okay, in the green, a lot of times that's me going 1, 3, 2, 1, right? And I can just eyeball those now. I can just see them, and also, so I can hear them, see them, and when I'm doing a countdown, right? Okay, yeah, there's a take 2, right there, guys. Okay, I have a visual representation of so this all helps in editing. This all helps with doing that cut, finding it quickly. And 2, 1. So you want to make a video. Why? No, seriously, why? All right, so that was me attempting to do some kind of introduction for the OBS. Okay, so there you go, guys. That is the cut mode. Now we have another mode, which is the edit mode. Okay. This mode has a lot more to it. This mode is where I do most of my editing, hence the name. In here, we still have the media pool in the upper left. Okay, guys? And when I double click on that, check this out. Back here, remember, I'm getting to these different modes, if you will, and by clicking on the bottom, okay? I'm hovering over it right now. Look at the bottom of your screen where it says cut. I click on it, and then if I come in here, and okay, so there's my take 2, 3. See, I don't even have to listen to it, right? I can see my fingers. This is just a tip for you guys if you want to use the same thing. I can just watch myself do that, and I cue to right near it. I listen, and then I put my input. So we're about to do that. Here we go. I'm listening. 1. So you want, okay, missed it. So you what, right? You heard that? I'm just past the so you what. Now, listening. Use this. This is a jog wheel. Okay. See that right there? The 2 arrows. In the old days, we had manual controllers on our desktop, and we'd be controlling multiple tape decks with this thing, and we'd be jogging through footage, meaning you're fast forwarding and rewinding it at different speeds, videotapes, where you mark your ins and your outs to make your edits. Okay, same applies, same terminology, all the way from film to video to now. We use the same terminology, a jog wheel. Here we go. So now when I click and hold down, left click, check out the expanded waveform. Can you guys see it? Okay. There's the whole timeline. But when I hold down my left click, this is so beautiful. I can hear. I go right before that. Press I, or I use E because I have an avid keyboard mapped here. Press the E button, endpoint set. Okay. I just set an endpoint. How do I know that? I had this little mark right here. Pressing G gets rid of it. And again, let's mess that up. I'm going to back it up to around there. Use my jog wheel. You can also use the play buttons on your keyboard if you want. JKL. J is backwards. So you want to make a video. That's all right. Backwards. K is pause. L is forward. Press L twice. No, seriously, why? Double time, and then press it again, triple time. Press J 3 times backwards. No. 2, 1. So you want, I'm right at the so you what, right? So you what? Let's set an endpoint right before that. Grab the jog wheel. I can watch the waveform and endpoint. Did I mess that up? No, I got it. All right, got my endpoint done. All right, this was great. Now let's switch over to edit mode. Remember, bottom, right next to cut. Click on edit. Boom. Now, check out. It automatically, of course, updates that clip. It's highlighted red. Okay, highlighted red because we just had it open and cut. And now that I make sure it's loaded into the source monitor, guess what? That is my endpoint. If I use Q because that's how it's mapped to go to an endpoint. When I press Q there, watch, I press play. So you want to make a video. Okay, that's where we put our endpoint. Now, let's just use the rest of that clip and lay it on the timeline. How do we do that? lots of different ways. B and V, there's a splice in, and also you have you have keys here on in your interface as well. But we need to make that edit, and depending on how your keyboard's mapped matters. But also to make an edit, let's see, where's there? Okay, there it is. Now, right now we have this kind of pulled out macro view of our timeline. I just edited that in. If I press play on my timeline right now, take a listen. So you want to make a video. So you want to make a video. Okay, going back to the beginning. So you want to make a video. That's where we put our edit. Now, on your timeline, there's so much freedom here. It's a beautiful thing. I can click and it'll snap. It's like a magnetic pull, kind of like the interface of OBS was, where it kind of snaps to the edges and it snaps, and you'll just feel it. It's organic. You'll feel it when you're in the timeline. You have to edit to learn to edit. You're not going to become an editor of any regard without doing what? Editing. Writers don't exist unless you write. Same goes for any profession, any art. Unless you're doing it actively all the time, you're not going to get better. You're not, and you eventually can't call yourself that. So, guys, play around, make mistakes, Control Z to get out of it, and play around and edit and edit and edit, and you will get better. Back to the timeline. So, we haven't talked about this. Again, source, record, monitors. The left one's source. This one's record. That's terminology from the olden days, meaning a timeline monitor and a clip monitor. Okay, same thing. Okay, meaning I'm feeding that part of the clip down into my timeline, which is represented by that blue and that green that you see down there. Okay, I brought up the two monitors because underneath the timeline, where it says timeline 1, this is how I can scale my timeline. See that right there? And when I pull this to the right, it expands. And I pull it to the left, it contracts. I'm simply zooming in and out. And believe me, you'll do this all the time. You need to zoom in maybe to pinpoint a certain transition. You're working, like if coming up, I'm going to be editing something that's at minimum 108 minutes. So it's feature length basically, and it's a documentary thing. So I'll be editing that, but guess what? I will have to zoom way in to do the minutia of edits and different things, or adding a 5-second title. Imagine that, 5 seconds out of something that's hour and a half plus. It looks like that when you're zoomed out. So what you do, you zoom in, okay? Like taking a magnifying glass. Okay, that's what we're doing now. So again, I'm zooming in. Now, once we do that though, okay, you then can grab this on the bottom to simply scroll back and forth, okay? So meaning if we got really close, I can now grab this bar at the bottom, okay? And zoom all the way back to the beginning and so on. Okay. I think you got me there. Zoom in and out and then scroll through whatever we have. That's how we do it. So this right here is simply the rest of that introduction that I did, starting, of course, with, we all know it well now. So you want to make a video. Okay. I should reshoot this. I'm getting bored with it. Okay. Now, here we go. Let's listen to the end of it, and better yet, let's do this. By the way, to get rid of that clip, I just click on that and hit delete on my keyboard. It's gone. Let's go back to our cut mode. Okay, remember at the bottom. Down here, I can tell that this is where I ended it. The Loudboy experience. Well, check this out, guys. I am Eric. Okay, all right. I thought maybe I did it twice. Sometimes if I don't like the way I wrap something up, I'll go, all right, take 2. Then I'll kind of wait a second, get my mind together. I'm like, okay, 3, 2, 1, blah, 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 blah. And I finish whatever I'm saying. Okay. Because that is one thing to start an introduction, start an outro, start the main body of a video that you're recording, that you're talking alone in a room. It's another thing to wrap it up smoothly. Man, I find there's such exhaustion with my mind, with my voice. It's happening now, with my body, just with my thoughts. There's such exhaustion that happens talking alone in a room for over an hour, 2 hours. And it takes its toll in that by the time you know it's time to wrap it up, it's time. sometimes you'll just flub it up or it just won't be smooth, but sometimes you'll nail it because you've been talking about it for an hour and a half, but sometimes you got to redo it. So maybe I didn't this time. Let's give it a listen. In that, you're in the right place. I am Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. I think I redid that, by the way, but okay, let's just leave it for now. Hold on. Let's take a look though. You're in the right place. If you're interested in that, you're in the right place. I am Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. Man, I've done better. Okay. More importantly to what we're doing, we're talking about the edit. Okay, so after I say I am Eric, this is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. All right, that's my thing. Let's go. As if I invented it. Let's go. Okay, now you can see the close-up view, okay, of our audio, and you can see that there's that red line. Check out, see the red line? Go. And what I'll do is I'll find a place where I'm happy my face looks, because you don't want to stop it on. You want a resolution of your look. Anyway, use your thought, use your whatever, that's good enough for me. I'm going to put an out point there. Okay. It's either I or O or E or R, depending on how your keyboard's mapped. All right, good. Now check it out. Here's the beginning. So you want to make a video, and then here's the end, which ends with let's go. So we got it all marked up. Beautiful. All right. Now going to our edit mode. It's already loaded in here. Okay. Now it has the new out point, has our in point here. So you want to make a video, and let's go to the out point. I'm going to back it up a little bit. And let's go. Let's edit down. Now I've edited to the timeline. Hit your edit button or hit the B button. Right place. I am Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. Okay, there you go. That's the intro. Now, if you ever wonder, hey, how long is that? Well, look over into your timeline view. And by the way, let's give that another. I can click on any clip in my media pool over here. And right now you can see it says timeline 1, guys. I can now click on that, just kind of single click on the word. I'm going to type tutorial. There we go. Tutorial. Okay, done. When I did that, when I renamed the timeline there, it did update in my timeline viewer over here. Beautiful, done. Now, how long is that intro from the point A to point B, the in to out? It is 46 seconds and 16 frames. Remember, we got 30 frames a second, so it's 46 and a half. There you go, done. All right, now let's go get that main body. Here it is. Again, you can do this in edit mode. I'm going to mention it. You can actually turn off media pool, and you can scrub here. I'm using a jog wheel. I like the other one. I like that close-up view of seeing the audio. I like to pinpoint that. I use it all the time to read stuff. All right. I don't use visuals. I listen and I watch the audio. All right. Let's do it now. All right. Here's our main. This sucker is 44 minutes and 47 frames. You guys know where to look at that? Okay, right up here. 44, 47. Here we go. Now I can see that. Yeah, I was in 3. Let's go. Remember what I said earlier? Here we go again. Sync up. OBS main. There's my sync up. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 3, 2. So again, talking to myself. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. And eventually I'll say something. Hey, give me a second, guys. Adjust my audio level over here. Here we go. All right, here we go. Remember, I'm doing a live production as we edit a video for the first time. Meaning I'm running OBS here. I'm editing in Davinci Resolve, talking to you at the same time. I'm running multiple computers. So, it's actually kind of fun. I'm loving this. All right, here we go. So let's check it out. Here we go. In 3, 2, counting myself down. I do this a lot. I'll count and I'm like, what I'm doing is I'm thinking. You'll do it too. If you haven't done it already, you'll do this too, because come on, a lot of pressure, right? Got to nail it, to do well. But also, if you're like me, you've thought about certain videos, not this one, but like a recent video that I did. I was thinking about that for a week to 10 days. What I would say, how I would say at different points I wanted to make, what sources did I need, what have I typed up, do I need to type up this part, which part I'm improving, which most of the time is everything, but sometimes I'll have bullet points. So the point is, think, 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 think. Then when you're in front of the camera, it is go time. As if you got to treat it like you have a live audience. Okay, guys, when you're in OBS and you're recording, or of course when you're streaming, but you're in front of a live audience every frame and every second that you're on. So that's a lot of pressure, right? Uh, so therefore, I will take a moment like this, just go until and then finally, you have to go. Let's just do it. If you wait around for if perfect example, if you wait for perfection, you'll never achieve anything. You'll never go anywhere. You never do anything. It is impossible to obtain. So just go. Here we go. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. That was a perfect example, right? I knew let's jump in and go. Because that countdown was so quick, right? I'm just like, let's go. I'm like that sometimes. It's like, stop thinking and go. Just talk about it. You know what you're doing. Anyway, started. Take 2, and then you mess up. 3, 2, 1. I started exploring videos in high school. I think I even messed this up. Yep. Yeah, there was another take. Yep, another take. Let's at least take 3. I'm going to skip through this. All right, it looks like that take. What I'll do is sometimes I will go fast forward several seconds in, and if I don't see my fingers up, I know that that's a good take. Sometimes that surprises me, but yeah, here. And I burped. Okay, 2, 1. I started playing around with my ring. All right, here we go. Jog wheel. Endpoint. Done. I started playing around with video. Again, back to just before the edit. I started playing around with video in high school. Okay, that's it. That's the take I took. All right, beautiful. Now, I see a couple gaps, by the way. Can you guys see? Boom. This is why I do my rough cut from cut. So perfectly named, because can you guys see it? See this tiny, let me move see these tiny little dips right here, right? There's 1, there's 2. I can eyeball that from right here, and I knew that I did a take there. All right. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll just cut the whole darn thing, 40 something minutes, boom. And then I will go, however, a lot of times it's easy, meaning I will go through and then find out where, oh, that's where I did another take. And what I'll do is if I mess up on camera, I'll just kind of do this, right? Again, giving myself a visual aid for later. Something to where in editing, I go, oh, there's my hand up. I know that I need to go poke around there, find out where it ends, and find out where this new take began. Use visual aids, use talking to yourself as clues and signals to give yourself the editor. Remember, you're more than one person now. You're a person live, a personality in front of the camera, but in addition to that, you are the editor. Think like an editor. Always think like an editor. Because in the instant like this, I know that I'm going to go right before here. What I'll do is I'll skip to where the new take is, find out what I was talking about. 3, 2, 1. In another video, I'm going to talk about all of the different equipment. All right, so that's where I said talk about another video. Meaning, okay, let's go back to before that. I know that I've started that thought process at least twice. The little mess up in the middle there and back here. So I need to find out just before in another video. Okay, asking you why. What do you want to do? Of course, at the end of the day, the goal is to make it short. Of course, you need a camera. And it's going to be anything from yeah, that's where I messed up. Yep, there's my signal. Okay, talk to yourself verbally, but also visually. Okay, if you're going to be your own editor, think like an editor. project and know I need to tell myself later I messed up here. I need to tell myself later what take this is. Count myself down. Whatever you need to do to communicate to the latter self. What if it's a couple days from now and you forgot where you messed up, how you messed up? Talk to yourself now in front of the camera, like I am to you. Talk to future editor self. All right. It helps me. Yeah, I think it'll help you as well. All right. So let's back that up. And so there's where I flag myself off. Thought process behind it. All of this is very important. That's why I started off this video by asking you why. What do you want? This is from the OBS production video. At the end of the day, the goal is to make a video. Sure, that is the direct line. However, what goes into it? Of course, okay, let's cut it off right after that is a direct line, and then I'm going to cut to the equipment thing. I think it'll work. Let's check it out. However, that is the direct line. Direct line. You notice I'm using the jog wheel. I'm looking at my waveform down here. When you're editing stuff like this, never give yourself too much padding. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me give you an example. The extra space after I said direct line and I ended that word, okay? That extra space until I either took a breath or said something else, if I leave that in the edit, when you're watching it, it feels like a millennium. Trust me. Let's give that an edit down, okay? I just slap that on the timeline, press my edit point there. Now, let's find where we start off that talk about the equipment. Remember where we did a take, another take, here we go. In another video, I'm gonna start right there. And another video that we're gonna start right there. All right, now jog wheel. All right, I'm looking right there. See our red line there? You just park it right at the bottom of that hill, because watch the hill. And let me put an endpoint there. Okay. Here, jog wheel. All right, see the hill? All right. In another video, okay, don't put it on the top of the hill. Don't put it too down far away from the hill, right at the bottom of the hill, because you're at, all right. Now, I was letting extra padding, remember that? Okay, so let's go back to our jog wheel. Let's give me, see all that flat line? I'm not talking, not breathing, not making a word. It's between thoughts. It's to be about to say something. If I left that in, it's forever. Trust me. Just made another edit. Probably just edited too much. Let me undo that. Let me just edit a small portion. Done. Okay, oops. Done. Okay, let's go to this mode here. Now I'm gonna zoom. By the way, I just switched to Photoshop work, the entire video production process. If you're interested in, by the way, Control F, okay, is full screen. That you're in the right place. I am Eric. This is the Loudboy Experience, and let's go. I started playing around with video. All right, now let's go to that. Let's go to this edit right here. That's why I started off this video. Okay, just watch. Of course, at the end of the day, the goal is to make a video. Sure, that is the direct line. In another video, see that? And it sounded bad too. And I know it was a jump cut. We'll talk about that, but that space is forever. Okay? Yeah, this is very important. That's why I started off this video by asking you why. What do you want to do? Of course, at the end of the day, the goal is to make a video. Sure, that is the direct line. In another video, okay, horrible, right? Horrible. Okay, now undo. Undo. I'm doing Control Z. Okay, all that's gone. Wipe from the record. Now let's go back to here. I'm gonna go to that. However, all right, so good. This brought us back in time to the direct line comment. However, that is the direct line. This time I'm gonna praise. I'm going to get my out point right immediately at the end of line. Okay. Edit it down. I'm going to go to that second take. I can just use my visuals, got my fingers up and counting myself down for the take two. One. And another. Okay. And another. Okay. Just like before, look at the little hill. See the, and that's me saying, in another video. And that. Yeah. Okay. So put that red line right at smack at the bottom of the hill. Make that edit tight. You'll thank me. All right, now I'm going to put an out point there, edit that puppy down. Let's give it a new watch to that. This isn't perfect, but I want to check it out. Into that production, the thought process behind it. All of this is very important. That's why I started off this video by asking you why. What do you want to do? Of course, at the end of the day, the goal is to make a video. Sure. That is the direct line. In another video, I'm going to talk about all. See how quickly it happened, though? If I were editing this for real, I'm about to edit this for real to actually make that OBS, make the OBS video that you've seen, you can check out. This is weird. This feels like time travel. Okay. Wrapping my head around this real-time situation. All right. However, when I do this for real, guys, okay, when I sweeten this up and I will you can do stuff, okay? You can add a graphic there. There's lots of, you can do different camera moves, meaning you can actually move your frame around. Point is, but sound wise, always listen more than, not just as much as look, not more than, just as much as look, listen. Just zoomed into my timeline here. Great. And let's press play. End of the day, the goal is to make a video. Sure. That is the direct line. In another video, I'm going to talk about all of the different equipment, why you need a camera and a microphone setup. And here's the thing. In my final edit of this, again, we're doing a rough cut right now. I might not even use this section. Yeah, I might poke ahead and go, you know what? I didn't need to talk about that. Talk about the fact that I'm going to talk about equipment. I'm already thinking I might pull this part out. That's fine, but that's what the rough cut is for. But the first thing you want to do is, if you have multiple videos, you need to put them together. When I say rough cut, that's what that is. And once you have that, then you go back and you listen and you watch and you cut and you trim and you cut. Let's do a little bit of that cutting and trimming right now. Okay, guys? So, for instance, let's take out all the equipment. However, but it looks a lot of times, my goodness, that was a great example. I know myself, and when I say however, I know mentally while I'm talking to you guys, I have veered off the beaten path. Okay, that video was about OBS, and I know mentally, if I've gone on for a couple minutes about equipment that in a future video I'm going to make, I'm off the beaten path. Let's stick to the subject at hand. At least that's how I want to operate. And I always know that I might cut that part out if I say, however, listen, connect all the equipment. However, once your video camera and once your, man, however is like a harbinger of bad things to come, man, or bad things done. So right off the bat, you can see right here inside of OBS. Okay. I did. Let's put an input and output. I'm going to click here and I'm going to scoot down here, put an out point on my timeline this time, in and out, E and R or I and O, depending on, again, how your keyboard's mapped. And by the way, I haven't talked about that much. It is, yep, right here. In the software, upper left-hand corner, Davinci Resolve, click on the word Davinci Resolve, pull down to keyboard customization. You can map your keys here, guys, okay? Make them do whatever you want. As you can see, my E and my R are my ins and my out points and stuff like that. So I'm an avid editor by heart and by trade and by profession, so therefore I think that might help. Speaking of, however, I might cut this part out later. I kid. All right, so here we go. That was a minute. How do I know? I just marked it in and out on my timeline. Okay, see the gray bar. Okay, and it highlights to see how this is kind of grayed out, meaning darker, and this is lighter. So whenever you put, for instance, I come down here, in, out, lighter there. Okay, and darker around it. It's showing you you've highlighted and chosen this section. So for instance, remember we talked about that magnetic pulling, like in OBS and like in this software as well. It just did that right, by the way, with that cut point. As I move my red line, my position marker on the timeline, it snaps right to that cut. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So now endpoint, come down here to where I start talking. It looks like. So right off the bat, you can see right here inside. So when I do the final edit of this, I'm probably cut to, you can see right here, something like that. All right. Off the bat, you can see right. Okay. You can see. And by the way, I'm using a jog wheel in the tutorial or the timeline viewer. However, I can do that and cut and get that kind of that close-up view. Like you simply come in here, double click on tutorial, shows up in your cut mode. And when I come down here, check it out right here on the bottom, always available to you, depending on how things are zoomed and positioned, because this interface can be moved all around. You can get this little marker here and see, move stuff around, so on. Okay. So, but depending how that is, I have. So right off the bat, you can see, I don't like right off the bat, but I would start with you can see. Why? Because that's when in the OBS video, I'm going to show you guys what, again, this is hard to wrap my head. All right. I'm going to show you guys in the OBS video, even though I'm talking about it here, it's this time travel. I'm going to show you guys the fact that that's when we switch to the OBS software. Okay, here we go. So right off the bat, you can see, and I hate saying so. Most of the time when I hear so, I'll cut it out. Watch. So okay, let's do an example of so. I'll get to keep right off the bat. Okay, watch. Again, look at how much the audio levels down here. Can you see them? White on top of the blue background instead of the green. So, and there was a big quiet. You see how the audio flatlines first? Like, so right off the bat, all right, don't want the so. I hate the so. I get rid of the so. All right. So, all right. So what I'll do is, again, just by clicking on where it kind of looks like a ruler, all right, those are the little hash marks in time. Just by clicking on that, I get these two kind of like arrows facing out. You can see them there. Left click on that. And it's like a really slow jog wheel over your audio. Okay, so I'm gonna have to edit this out now. I just said so. Here we go. So, all right, see the little valley right after so? Yeah. All right. If I want to cut, remember, I had that cut where I start talking about the equipment. Okay. And now, in fact, when I put an out point there, come back to the edit. Come back to the edit mode, right, guys? I can just park down here. This is where I start talking about equipment. Since I put an out point there, and that's what I'll do. If I am going to trim stuff out and manipulate between edit and cut mode, I will put an out point there. Why? That lets me go directly back to that part that was between so and blah, blah, blah. And I'll do it now. Here, watch. I'm just going to move to that out point. Right off the bat, you can see so it's gone. Right off the bat. Now watch. I can back it up. So is still there though. So but my out point is right after so. Right off the bat. Okay. Now let's go back to cut. I just want to show you what's going to do is I'm going to show you something if you haven't used it before. I'm about to show it. Again, going to that out point. There's these little scissor buttons here, and I love these, and I use them all the time for this really raw use chunking sections out. There is a razor blade tool which lets you cut your clips in the timeline. However, sometimes I just like doing this because I can jog over a place, I do a cut, and then I can chunk that right out like we're about to do. Remember, we got rid of so, and now it'll sound like this. Right off the bat. Hold on, let me go back. Right off the bat. Got it? Okay. Now, using our scissor button, it just cut right through the clip. If we go back to edit mode, you can see, let me get rid of the in and out points. This is now its own section. See the splice point here? cut point here. Okay. Watch this. Click, delete. What's great is when you delete a section out of your timeline right here, they automatically suck together and they're together. If you don't want them to do that and you want to leave a space there, click on it. Okay. Say I want to put something in between them or whatever reason you might have. Control X or cut. All right, let's cut. That was Control X or cut. Okay. Now I cut them out, leaving a blank space there. Control Z. Okay. This time I'm just gonna delete. Done. All right. Now cutting out that talk about equipment, meaning I talked about what other video I plan to or have made. I don't want to get off track. I want to whatever I was talking about here and go right to showing you guys how to use OBS. And a lot of times in my editorial brain, that's especially for YouTube, right? It has rewritten the rules on attention spans. You know the world we live in. Keep to the point, but allow yourself in front of the camera while you're recording. Allow yourself that time to hash stuff out, to think of stuff, to improv, to go on about something. That's what editing is for. Because there can be some real gems, some real special moments in those times and sometimes I'll have 5 minutes up my sleeve I didn't know I had. I pontificate. I go on about my thoughts about whatever it might be. And I'm like, oh my God, this is darn good. Like when I say that about something I've said, then it's halfway decent. It's pretty good because I'm very critical of myself, like I'm sure you are as well. So, see, I'm going to have to see what I mean? I just did it. So, all of my flaws are coming out in this video. You guys are getting a real treat today. Let's back this up. Remember, we cut out the equipment part. We got rid of the so. And now we're going to start with whatever I said after that. Here we go. Pressing play. Today, the goal is to make a video. Sure. That is the direct line. Right off the bat, you can see. Okay. I said the goal is to make a video, whatever that was about the direct line. But then I got right into the software itself. And in the actual video, the OBS video, you will see the interface. Okay. And it's going to be great. I won't go into the full multicam. I can do that in another video. That is a long, complex video. And believe me, as I've been talking to you for this, I have been thinking all this time, should I talk about it? I should do it. I should want to, but no, I want to keep this more straightforward right now. You've done your rough cut. There is so much more for us to talk about. We need to talk about titles, effects, working with audio, colorizing our video. I'm going to show you where some of those buttons are now, but guys, come back for another video. And I'm realizing in real time during this that this is going to take more than one. Okay, because already we're pushing an hour. I'm looking over here at my OBS software, guys. Remember, I'm recording and making a video just like you will be. And already I'm at 52 minutes. And that doesn't include the intro. So when I do my rough cut and put this video together, I don't want it to be too long. However, and I just did it right there. However, so, all right, that'll come out in the final edit. And speaking of the final edit, let me show you one more thing before we go. We've talked about the cut mode. Okay. Remember, we use that with our jog wheel. Right here. Okay. And right now it's looking at the timeline, but remember, you can double click on any of your clips, load that up, and so on. Set your in and out points. Use your edit button. You can slap them down here or use the edit function, which is the next one over. Edit. So much more to show you here. We will get to it in another video. Guys, have any questions, comments below? Leave them. We can talk. Next one over. I'm really excited to show you this mode, the basics of it, and we will. Again, in another video, we will now talk about the fusion mode. In this mode, we can do what's traditionally is called a DVE type moves, from zooming in and out to spinning to different manipulation of the video layer itself. And there's some other cool stuff in here as well. The next layer, the next mode over, and guys, if you have DaVinci, go get it. If you don't, click on these modes and play around with your footage. This is the color mode. Before we go, all right, I have to show you one thing to do if you want to do an auto color on your stuff. By the way, this is the clip that we're editing right here. Okay. We have a viewer panel. These are called LUTs. Don't worry about those. My daughter uses, she's in film school. She uses those on a regular basis with her high-end cameras. But right here, this button where it says in the color wheels, auto balance. If you want to do a quick and dirty, let's get out the door and have it adjust my black levels and my white levels and stuff without going in yourself, click on that button. I don't like what that did to my face, but anyway, yes, it just did an auto correct. You want to get rid of that? Right click on this clip. This is the clip you're on. I have 3 clips here. You can see that with these first, see, these are showing me each cut along the timeline are represented here by 1, 2, 3. See that 1, 2, 3? That's the first one. Second section, third section. The third section is where we put the audio. See the little A on the clip here, okay? But if I go back to 1 and 2, there's no A. We didn't auto-correct those. When you make an adjustment, it'll give you a little icon on the respective clip. Clicking on the third one, where we did an adjustment, we did an autocorrect, right click on it and do reset node grade. That'll get rid of what we just did. Done. Okay. Now, if I want to come in here and instead bump up my shadows, okay, work with the shadows of my clip or whatever. If I want to do something really horrific like that, I can. Again, right click on it, reset node grade, back to normal. All right, guys. So if you've made 100 edits in your timeline, those you'll see 100 different ones across here. We've only made 3, so that is the quickest thing I can do right now. And we can do this more in another video. The next one is audio. A massive, massive, great suite of audio tools in here. I have not gone through the full depths of these. I've used a couple as needed, but there are better ways to do it, more quick and direct ways to work with your audio. And again, in the next video, we will address these. And because we need to talk about the inspector. The inspector inside of Davinci is bonkers. It's awesome, meaning the direct line to so many great tools that control your clips in the timeline. Truly impressive, truly amazing. So again, we have cut, we have edit, we have fusion, we have color going across the bottom right here to finally this last one, deliver. When I click on deliver, if you're working in YouTube or heck, this will work for all of them. I use it for all of them. If I'm doing a vertical video, I'll use this setting to do TikTok and or a short on YouTube. If I'm doing a 16:9 high def frame, regular video frame, then I use this setting. Let me show you what it is. First of all, give your thing a name. Hit browse. Okay. It's already called tutorial. It's going to save the video, so give it a name. Choose where it goes. You know how to use a computer. Next up, use this bar right here. These are all presets, okay? They have some that are labeled TikTok and stuff, but you know what? Most of the time, I just use the YouTube setting, the YouTube 1080p setting. If I'm working vertical, it'll already know it, but you can click on the vertical, and it'll actually render that this way. And that's how I make shorts that I directly upload to YouTube. I click on YouTube, you can see it says it as an MP4, H.264. Remember, we talked about codecs a little bit in the OBS video. Again, we recorded them in OBS, we edited them in Davinci, and we're going to output to them again. It is the workhorse of our lives these days. H.264 and an MP4. Also, it's still encoding in AAC. Now, one last thing that I will do most of the time is I click on YouTube. I've already given it a name right down here, normalize audio. This will go in and set certain limits on it without damaging your audio or whatever. But if you've pegged a little bit too high, it'll bring it down like a decibel. And it's meeting certain requirements and certain preset settings for YouTube. It hasn't really done me wrong, save for once. If I noticed it really degrading and messing up my audio, screwing up the levels that I so carefully set during my edit, I wouldn't use it. But overall, it's done a great job of keeping it within the set parameters that YouTube wants, or TikTok and so on. And you can see that there's other things up here like Vimo and stuff. But that's what it'll do. It's not leveling things. It's not, but it's just kind of taking down to make sure it certs these parameters. This is nothing new. Since the dawn of time, if you will, television, there have been broadcast standards. When I made professional videos and I made professional commercials, with equipment that I sent to news station and I sent to TV stations, different commercials and stuff, I had to meet certain standards, different black levels, different light levels, different how much of the audios, because it went over the broadcast waves. You can't just give them crap. Same holds for now. It's about maintaining a certain quality level, video and audio. All right, so that's kind of my take on what normalized audio means. Now, we've given it a name. We've chosen the YouTube 1080p. I've clicked on normalized audio, and then at the bottom, right here, click on add to render queue. So we're working our way down. Name, location, type of video that it is, normalized audio, and at the bottom, click on add to render queue. It calls it a job one, yada yada, and then hit render. That was going through reading the audio. It'll now adjust that in real time as it creates the video. It's doing it right now. It's a 5-minute video. And my laptop's going to render this sucker in probably about 20 seconds. By the way, compared to the olden days, ridiculous. I mean, I've got a killer laptop, but still. In the old days, our real-time render, very common. If you have a 90-minute project, doing a real-time render on that was very common. And if you hear a loud fan, that's my supercomputer laptop rendering that. Done. How do you know when it's done? It says completed. And actually 44 seconds, rendered out that 5-minute sequence that we just cut in 44 seconds. I'm going to close to my desktop. I'm going to open up, go to my videos now. You can see it says tutorial. Okay, that's where I told it to go. When I double click on that,
So you want to make a video. Why? No, seriously, why?
this is the rough cut that we just
Ask
did.
yourself that. Why do you want to make
I wish I could.
And I actually ended up teaching my professors, avid by the television, how to out of until college. School to edit. I am Eric.
There's the intro.
Production process. Or it's back video production process into Canada film production. Learning of that you can see right here inside of OBS.
Oh, hold on.
Line right off the bat.
Okay, there's. Remember, we took painstakingly got rid of the so.
Make a video.
Okay, so listen and watch. This is the rendered out final of the rough cut we just did. Here we go.
Sure, that is the direct line right off the bat.
And there's that cut, right here. No so. It's gone. That's what I wanted to show you guys. The most simple rough cut. We've gone through the basics. We've gone through the basics of Davinci, and again, I was hopeful we could have done so much more in this video, but alas, we can't. In that, nobody wants to sit here for 8 hours. It is a complex. I mean, video editing of itself is a lifetime pursuit. I've been doing it for over 30 years. I still don't know everything. And as you're starting out, if you're starting out, or if you just want to get into Davinci, whatever reason you're here, thank you. But more importantly, though, know that it's going to take time. But it's going to take editing. Get out there and edit. Record with OBS. Bring your clips in like we did, and do a rough edit. And guys, next time we'll talk about titles and the coloring and the excuse me, and the audio, and I'm losing my voice. And we'll talk about, and of course, we're going to talk about Fusion and the inspector and some more using titles and effects. There's so much more to do. And I'm jazzed for this. Got to let my voice rest up for now. I've made several videos today, so I'm getting hoarse. But alas, maybe I should cut this part out of the video, and maybe you'll never know. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you, though. But guys, start thinking like an editor. All right, you're a personality. You're someone who, talking head on camera. But if you're editing your own videos, start thinking like an editor, and you won't regret it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I'm Eric. Join me next time. Check out my other video editing and video production clips. And I really hope you guys have a good one. Bye, guys. You know what? No, I'm going to have to cut that part out. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. I'm going to leave this in just for example's sake. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Check out my other videos about video production. I am Eric. This is the Loudware Experience. Have a good one.